Okay, our last piece here is how do we find the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix? So it's not necessarily, there's two ways you can do it. You can look at kind of sub-determinants. So we see here we have our values. And this is the way that the book is going to present it. I have my values here. I have A basically times this value here. So you can see what we've been left with is if I look at A multiplied by the determinant, of E, F, H, I. We'll figure out that. And then we subtract B. So we take out the rows that has. So we take those and we're left with D, F, G, I. And then we go through. Now this is a little bit harder to do. So the way that we're going to suggest that you guys do it for this course, we'll just show you kind of what their example looks like here. And then we'll show you, hopefully is an easier way to do it. So they're going to go through, they're going to go and do all those determinants, and they're going to get their multiplication. Again, their determinant for this is, the first two is just -1 times 5, and then 4 times 2, and then they go through it, and then they get -25. The way that we're going to suggest that you do this is you're going to do an expansion. So basically, you're going to take the first two columns, and you're going to rewrite them over here, and then you're going to multiply diagonally. So you're going to multiply diagonally here, here, and here. And then that becomes your values at the bottom there. And then you're going to subtract the multiplication of our diagonal the other way. So going up, 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 and that becomes our diagonal there. It's the same kind of idea of what we had before, but it's a little bit easier to remember as we go through this. So when we go through those mechanics, -25 was our determinant before. When we go through and I multiply the first way, so I do my values like that, those all become here, right? So 3 times -1 times 5 is -15. 1 times 4 times 1 is 4, and 0 times -2 times 2 is 0. And then we go the other way. And so we go that, that, that. And when we do that, again, 0 times -1 times 1 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24, and then 1 times -2 is -2 times 5 is -10. And when we go through it, we get the same value at the end. So the same process where we have a non-zero determinant means that it's invertible and the inverse will exist, and that will allow us to find that operation. So now though, when we get through that, we're going to use our calculator to help us out here because the mechanics for a 3 by 3 inverse are just unwieldy, and we have better tools available to us. So I'm going to show you quickly how to use your graphing calculator to input a matrix in and then find the inverse. So we're going to use the emulator here. And so to get to the matrix operations, let me make this a little bit bigger. I hit second matrix, and then I already put in the 3 by 3, but let's say that I wanted to edit and add another one. So I'm going to say edit. I'm going to go down and edit B, and I'm going to make a 3 enter 3 enter matrix, and then I want to add in the values that we had from before. So if I go back to it, 3 1 0. So it's going to be 3 enter 1 enter 0. And then the next row is -2 -1 4. -2, make sure you hit the negative, not the minus. -1, oops. -1 4. And then our last is 125. So we'll enter 125. So 1, enter, 2, enter, 5, enter. So now when we do second quit, we get out of that. We want to do an operation here. So to pull it up, I'm going to do second matrix, and then I just go down and I select B, and that will pull it up. And then to get the inverse, I hit this X and -1. I hit enter there. Oops, did too many times. Get rid of that. Hopefully that will still, I'm going to clear this out and just do it again. I'm going to hit second matrix, going to go down to B, enter, and then hit this once. There we go, and just hit enter. And those are our values. So we can see that I have those as decimals, and then it shows you in our operations that we can do math, fraction, and then hit enter, and it gives us our actual our values there. So you can see that it's not as easy as just multiplying by 1 over the determinant for the 3 by 3, but this is an easy way for us to get our values there for the 3 by 3 matrix. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to go and do the example, the guided practice here. So for our guided practice, you're going to first off determine the determinant. So again, I suggest that you do the expansion where you take the first 2 columns and you expand them. Right, so you're going to take these 2 columns, you're going to write them over here, and then you're going to do your diagonals to figure out what your determinant is. If it's non-zero, you're going to plug it into your calculator as well and figure out what the inverse is. You can check your work by using the emulator. You'll see that if you go back to your matrix menu, you go over to math, you do have a determinant value, and if you do second matrix B, hopefully we get -25, and we do. So that's a good way to check it. You should know how to do it both by graphing calculator and by hand as we go through this. All right, good luck.